What is happening, everybody, man? Thank you guys tuning in to another episode of the Power Hour. I've got the 216 represented today.
That's right, man. I appreciate you having me back. I've been waiting for this.
Yeah. Usually, I mean, it's about the only time Kinder and I get to hang out with each other. So, you know, he's taking a little personal time and enjoying Puerto Rico and has friends and family in. So got Mr. Hollo in to represent. So
they got to settle for second best.
Oh, geez. Yeah, right. What's up, man? How are things?
Dude, everything's good, man. Here, first of all, we always talk about the weather in Cleveland. It's finally turning. Had a couple 50-degree days, kind of questionable, but man, it's turning. Market is still unreal. You know, and I get to see it firsthand because I don't actively sell, but organically there are friends and family that come through. And I am literally still blown away. Even though I know the market, I talk to agents nationally, so do you. I'm still blown away at what I am seeing out there. And the latest for us is, the whole appraisal deficiency gap. But we actually had an offer came in that said buyers will pay $25,000 more than appraised value. Not to bridge the gap, more than appraised value. So no matter what the house appraised for, they will pay $25,000 more for it.
Jeez. I mean, it's still just, it doesn't make sense. And, you know, the challenge is that it just seems like everybody's, buying. I mean, how long they plan on being in these homes? I mean, because they're going to have to sit on it. Yeah.
And I mean, it goes back to the whole emotional versus equity purchase. And you're right. They gotta sit on these homes for a little while. And I mean, we're seeing weird situations where we helped people buy houses a year ago. They're turning around and selling them and making crazy amounts of money. So we don't know projections that are out there, but I'm still amazed at what's going on. And, also the whole inventory shortage. We have cities around us that, I believe we actually have the largest suburb in the United States. It's called Parma. It's just enormous. It's just small little bungalows. There has never, that I remember, been fewer than 300 houses on the market active at one time. There is 46 on the market in Parma right now. Ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous. So what are you guys, give a little context for people listening in. I know we've got a lot of new listeners that, have not had an opportunity to connect with you in a while. Just give a little, the 2-minute, background real quick, and then kind of where things stand with the Stacek Group as of today.
You had to say 2 minutes, didn't you? I can't talk for 2 minutes. All right. So let's, where do you want me to start at? Because I could start a bunch of different places.
Start real estate.
For me, personally?
Yeah.
All right, so day one started, I got thrown into real estate. I actually ran a small architectural firm, and the market absolutely collapsed for me in 2008. I went from doing about 250 houses a year, I drew them, custom homes, to 36. So my income went down about 75%, and I remembered 6 years prior, I actually took my real estate classes but never took the test. So I called my dad up and I said, Dad, what are my options here? And he goes, don't wait, man. You gotta do something. Come up with a, something that is going to be, differentiate yourself in this market, even though it's horrible. Sure. So I got together with my builders. 6 of them agreed to say, hey, yeah, sit in my model, sell for me, and you could draw at the same time. Mm. And what ended up happening was
you thought the best of both worlds, right?
What's that?
I said you were thinking the best of both worlds at that time.
Oh yeah, right. But how time consuming is that? Let me go sit in the model and beat my head against the wall, even if it was only one day during the week and then Saturday and Sunday. That's a lot of time, right? It's a lot of time away from my family. It was a lot of time on things that I enjoy. I'm a firm believer in putting through the hard work. But it got to a point where I was literally beating my head against the wall. It wasn't. Darren Hardy said it best to me, well, not to me personally, but it hit home for me. And he said, you could be world-class at one or two things, or you could be mediocre at a bunch of things or a few things. Yep. And man, that's what it was for me. I was doing a mediocre job at best all throughout. And when I got hooked up with Al Stasic, now my business partner, Al is like, and he actually toyed with me for a little while. So we sat down, we did our goals. He knew where he wanted to take this business or take my business, and he just let me go about do what I wanted to do. You know, I was getting burnt out, pissed off, overwhelmed, and he sat me down. He goes, "All right, you ready for this?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Fire your builders right now." And I'm like, "What are you talking about, man? I got all these listings." And he goes, how much money did you make in the last year on your builders? And it was something ridiculous, like $18,000, which was equivalent to making about $3 an hour for the amount of time I spent there, or even less. And so he goes, "Man, it's the slow death. They will suck the life out of you and the money." At that time, and they did. I do believe that new construction is a different animal now, but then. And so I got really down, man. And we rebuilt the business based on NAEA and everything that you guys, all the systems and processes. And I'm talking followed it to a T. And it was liftoff, man. Starting with, me, Al sent me my first boot camp. Then he started letting me go on listing appointments. And then it just exploded from there. And then eventually got into a leadership position because Al needed me to crunch some numbers, and I'm a numbers guy. He liked the way that we did it, and then I started actually taking things off his plate. So we just kind of started really working together well. And and I guess fast forward, we after I don't even know how many years, it wasn't many. I want to say 4 years as an independent brokerage. We ended up joining EXP.
Sure.
Almost 4 years ago now. And man, it's been a blast, truthfully, ever since. We went from him and I disagree. I say we came over with 12 agents. He says we came over with 10 agents. But let's let Al win.
Don't
for
let
now.
the facts get in the way of a good story.
Right. So we came over with right in the middle, 11 agents, and
there you go.
We were actually the 12th and the 13th agent to come over in the state of Ohio, and we made the plunge. And so our team now we hover right around 40 agents, 3 full-time employees. And honestly, it's fun. Our model completely changed. And what truthfully changed about it was it went from, we had that core group of the Navy SEALs, very high accountability, and we still are very high in the accountability. That hasn't changed. But when we open it up to anybody, anybody's welcome into our family. It, our motto became the more agents that we have on the team, the more lives that we can help change, period. And so
what's headcount at right now?
What's that?
What's headcount at right now?
40 agents.
40
Yep.
agents. Okay. So one of the things too, just real quick on understanding kind of the builder dynamic, for any of you guys listening in that, is working with the builder. And I'm not talking a national builder. I'm talking, somebody, on a smaller local level type builder, is that builders squeeze everything that they can squeeze. And that includes you as an agent. And so knowing what's happened with building materials and, a package that may have cost them less than 10 G's is now costing them almost 30 G's.
Yep.
And, they're fluctuating the price a little bit. They're taking a hit. Guess who else they're going to squeeze to take a hit?
Oh yeah. They squeezed me before.
All the time. They don't value anybody, right? They value, how fast can they turn the property for the most amount of money. And it's just business. It's just math for them. And so very, very seldom will you find somebody that is long-term loyal that won't squeeze the shit out of you, because they will. And so just understand that if you're getting in with builders, that it's just how it's going to be. I got my best friend's a builder, and him and I have, when we were still in Lawton representing him, I mean, there was a December commission that I needed that commission to make payroll, and he was squeezing me, and I lost my shit. And so, it's just understanding their behavior, and it's not personal. It's just math to them. And so just if you're going down that realm or stepping into those relationships, just understand it. And everything that you said, Joel, is 100% spot on. They will squeeze the life out of you.
Yeah.
They demand so much.
like you said, money and everything. And it was a very tough way to live. There are builders out there that do appreciate real estate agents.
Sure.
And they will not cut us out of anything. But I mean, for the most part, it's, I mean, not talking bad about them. My dad's a home builder himself, but it's,
sure,
man, it's a tough life to live. I remember negotiating, you know, and here's here's what it did do for me. It lifted my career because I came in with like only the experience that I had in real estate was that I owned a house, and B, that I would deal with these salespeople hand in hand. I would give them a preliminary set of drawings. They would say, great. They would meet with the clients, mark them up, and then give them back to me. And that was the only interaction that I kind of had. But I was like, you know what? I could figure this out. And so the only good thing that happened was I owned and had 200 signs between a couple different cities. I literally owned these cities just because of my signage. Sales-wise, it was not that case because nobody could do construction. And the cool thing was my average sales price was through the roof. It was, get this, 1 year was $588,000 in Cleveland. Wow. That is crazy. But guess what? I only sold like 4 of those. So it's a rough life. That's all. I mean, for some of these builders.
What so fast forward to today. I know I want to chat a little bit about y'all's big move coming up, but what are you guys seeing in the marketplace, as tough as it is, that's working for your agents?
Well, I have the hack for you. I'm glad you asked. Honestly, like the hack is hard ass work. That's all it goes back. It goes back to the basics because you have said it perfect to me, and I use this line all the time. Agents are getting rewarded for bad behavior.
Sure.
Okay, agents on my team, I see it all around, and it's because, you know, they're organically being successful. Yeah, they got to work a little harder, but we literally had a record-breaking year last year, and we have a great start for the first half of the year this year based on what everybody's saying. Oh, the market's so bad, the inventory's so down. Not according to our sales. It just takes a different way of doing business, I feel, and so. You cannot forget about the basics. You still have to, sometimes identify and double down on the business where you need to in order to get the same results. So if the inventory's down and you got to show a few more homes and have some different strategies and educate your clients a little bit more, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
And you have to continue to do the things that you don't want to do either. You have to prospect, you have to, and honestly, listings is the name of the game. We've talked about that a bunch. You got to go after some of these listings. You got to be doing social media posts. You got to be fueling your past clients. Like all those different avenues, if you continue to do that stuff and it's easy and it's fun, not only are you going to see unbelievable results because you already are, it's just going to do nothing but go up. And so truthfully, that's what we haven't wavered from that training. We try to keep it relevant at what agents are having challenges with in this market. But we haven't wavered from that, man. It's the basics and still sticking with that.
So what, keeping up with the times, what's relevant, what is relevant right now? What is working on the listing side?
Well, I mean, honestly, like some of our ads. So I feel pretty ninja about the second one, but it's the first one is we're still running the cash now offers. Okay. Yep. But it's dude, you actually said this, and I think you and Jay were talking about this, and I heard it and it was like a month ago, and I've heard it like every single week since then, and I'm like, that's it. It's a long-term play. Everything we do right now, we have to trust the process and know that this is for the long term, and we will get the results that we're looking for. And that's what it was. We started Cash Now Offer at the beginning of the year. We are seeing crazy listing appointment results out of it right now. It's staying the course. It's honing into the script. The script is probably the best script out there. And truthfully, anybody can do it. Okay. And why I say that is because, obviously through EXP, we have the luxury of having the express offers, but anybody could offer, if an investor or if you have some, a means of purchasing homes, you could put it out there because guess what? Out of hundreds of leads I've received so much, or let's say hundreds of conversations that I've received so far this year based on that, the Cash Now offers, Guess how many cash now offers we've had to place?
Very few, maybe 1 or 2, 0.
None.
Yeah.
We turn them all around because here, ultimately, it doesn't matter what position that person is in. That you have 2 goals. You want to sell the house as fast amount of time as possible to put some money in your pocket, or do you want to maximize your equity in the house? It is always maximize their equity because the market is still selling it as fast as that they want it.
Yep. So knowing that, but it's just a really good hook, right?
Yeah.
So why are sellers resonating to Joel? I know I can get top dollar for my home in this market. My neighbors are selling their house for this ridiculous, but why would I reach out to you for a cash offer now?
Yeah, so I mean, here it's 2 different ways. So obviously we're targeting potentially people who have been missing payments, throughout COVID, stuff that you and I have talked about a ton. But we're also taking the stress out of it because I think how educated these sellers are and buyers are in this market, it is crazy. So they're seeing people, neighbors, friends, family, loved ones sell their home and have 800 people. That's over exaggerating. 80 people through in a weekend. And it's stressful. Preparing it's stressful. And so that's the target. We're like, hey, let's sell it. We will take all the stress off of you because of what we have implemented there to help you out. And so that's kind of the second avenue that we've been going down.
So the one, we're going to get you the most amount of money, but we're going to make it as easy as possible, right? So that's the conversation.
Yep. And so that, and not to, if you had more questions, I'll circle back to this, but that goes into the next hook that we have. So we are really hitting hard with downsize CLE, downsize Cleveland, downsize whatever city you're in.com. That is working just as good as the cash now offers. Okay. And if you really want to go out, we also bought right size CLE and upsize CLE. Because here you're targeting all different clientele. You got the downsizers or the right sizers, because that's what people are doing. They're not downsizing, they're just right sizing into that forever home. And so either way, the downsize is great because that goes back to the whole stress. We got everybody for you. We not only have contractors to help you, fix up the home, prepare the home, carpet guys, landscapers, stagers, photographers, movers, like all across the board. We have it there to implement.
Yeah. And so it really is the, just catching that audience, what they're thinking about, right? So, are they thinking about downsizing? Are they thinking about moving up? Are they thinking about doing those things, right? So that message, really that hook is joining the story that's going on in their head. And that's all we're trying to do from a marketing perspective. And those hooks, right, is being able to catch and join the conversation that's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
There's somebody posted something in here that I want to touch on a little bit. So they said that I've been encouraging other agents I know to stop posting numerous offers in a day or 2 offers in a day because we are making it look pretty easy what we do. But so, it's funny because John Sheplak jumped on a live training that I was watching and he's like, I cannot stand it when an agent posts just sold for over asking price. No shit. Like you're aligning yourself with everybody, or I just made this many offers in a day. Right, we get it. What you should be doing is if you are posting, you got to differentiate yourself. Still add value to that consumer. Make the deposits, and then you're not going to come across as that clown.
Yeah, I think it's how can you add value? I mean, it's taking a little bit of thought process into it. What is value to your prospective audience? And so if you are in a market that has downsized opportunities, then, what's of value to that person that's going to really resonate with them. So it's just knowing who your audience is and then what value can you add that's helping them solve the problems that they're trying to figure out on their own. Right.
Yeah. And it also goes into the cash offers, like I said. So you could even because part of our downsized CLE ad, it says not only, could you potentially receive a cash offer, we also have a very stress-free way of, listing and selling your home. So it's aligning with both of them. And it depends on which direction, we have, honestly, like right now I have 2 agents that handle all of these leads. That's it. They had to be trained. They had to be certified. We made sure that, they were the Navy SEALs, and man, it's amazing what comes out of it. But yeah, it's all good stuff.
This is leading the witness. This is super obvious, but maybe not as obvious for some. How do you determine what's best for the seller? What type of offer?
Well, part of our script, and I number one, I can't stand it when you say this is obvious, because now I'm getting a little nervous here. But no, so
you asked the damn question, right? You just ask the question.
Yeah, and that's all it is, because our script, like I said before, says, hey, what's causing you to look for a cash offer, and what's the goal? Are you looking for some quick cash in your pocket, or are you looking to maximize the equity and put the most amount of money in your pocket? They got to choose. And 99.99999% it is, I want to put the most amount of money in my pocket. Great. We have a program for that as well.
Here's the other thing, right? So, hitting on the items of value as well, understanding what they're wrestling with. What is the biggest constraint? And it's always in their thinking. So where is the biggest bottleneck in their thinking, and how can I add value? Now, here's one of the little nuggets, Joel, that if you have a couple of these conversations, you're going to see a consistent theme. And then from there, now you can start creating posts of value that answer those problems, right? Marcus shared, and they ask, you answer. So what questions are you getting? What challenges are people having? That's your content strategy, because you're answering their problems. That's valuable. That's extremely valuable.
Yep.
So what are sellers concerned with in this market? Hey, where am I going to go? I don't know. Why don't you create a piece of content to educate them on what their options are? That's a piece of value. It's not complicated, right? So, and the reason that I think people make it complicated is because they're, like you said, they're not willing to do the hard work and have the conversations to figure out what people are struggling with. And if they would just take the dang time, figure out what people are struggling with, then now they can provide and create content that speaks to those problems.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, here's what wins too. It's going to sound really funny. Honesty. Okay. And what I mean by that is that I was the guy who beta tested that's even the correct term, is beta tested all of these calls for the first 2 months that came in. Doesn't sound very time efficient for me, but we did that because we wanted to see where this went, create the proper scripting for it. And when I started the conversation and I introduced myself and I said, hey, my name is Joel over at the Cash Now Offers site. And the reason for my call is I'm here to kind of just talk to you a little bit about the program, just so you know it up front, and find out exactly kind of where your goal is, and then, fit you with the proper agent at that point. So when I said that, they kind of released their guard. And so then I explained it in the program, the investor pricing, made it very clear. And honestly, more times than not, almost every time they'd be like, you know what, we thought it was going to be investor pricing. So yeah, no, we're interested in being top dollar. And they were cool because I was honest right up front. It's amazing how that works.
Real amazing, right? Yeah. Awesome. Well, appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have any questions or comments for Mr. Joe Hollo or myself, throw it into the comments. And we'd love to help you guys get unstuck with anything you guys might be wrestling with in today's market, with buyers, sellers, investors, builders, team members, leadership, marketing. We can hit it from any angle. So what though, brother, man? Share this exciting news, man, on the office space. Y'all's office is big, but it's kind of spread out, not a lot of windows, kind of dark.
Yep.
So what's changing?
You see the smile on my face?
I do.
So here, and I know a lot of people strive for this. We strived for this 4 years ago when we first rented out our office. And honestly, I think here's the part of the goal. I want any single real estate agent to walk into my office and say, I got to work here. just because of the atmosphere, right? And I mean, in the culture and everything like that. And so, truthfully, the word is state of the art. You know, Al and I sat down, and I'm not going to take all of the credit for this because, truthfully, you know, he's got a big part of this, and he's like, it's got to be state of the art. It's got to be not only cafe set up, you know, like somebody's working out of a Starbucks. Yeah. It's got to be like the state of the art portion is that we want it to be all the state of the art equipment there. You know, glass walls, stone walls, very open concept, but yet we also have privacy. So not only will there be some private offices, we are going to invest in those. I think they're called silent booths. I'm not sure if you've ever seen them, but they're unbelievable. They're super expensive, but they look like a very high-tech phone booth, actually. But it's big enough for you to put a chair. It's got a little desk about this big in there, and you know you can swing around and everything, but it's soundproof. Nobody can hear your conversation. So they get the privacy. They get the state-of-the-art. I mean, whether people agree with this or not, like it will literally have a beer keg in the place and everything. Like it is going to be, it's got it, right?
You gotta get Tito's on tap too, you know?
Yeah, and we were so the funny story real quick for everybody is that, you know, I still to this day, like I say that Al and I have been married for like 10 years now, okay? So Al doesn't show any emotion. We're in this meeting and I'm like drooling over this office space. It's got windows on every side. It used to be a bank. So it is like, it's got already high-end finishes, but it's just a big open layout. And I'm just like, this is it. This is amazing. I don't care what the price is. I brought my checkbook. What do you want? And Al is just straight-laced. And he ended the meeting early. He's like, okay, cool. All right, well, just tighten up those numbers a little and get back to us. And he walks out. I'm like, what the heck's he doing? But then I got the phone call from Al. And he's like, dude, that's the best space I've ever seen. He's like, I did that strategically because we're going to work on the price with them. And so, we ended up coming to terms on the price, which is awesome. And honestly, dude, here's what it was. Location. One of I wouldn't say my good friend, but somebody I do know very well owns a chain of restaurants, and it's not a chain. It's just, they're very high-end restaurants in our area. And he always told me, he said, location is everything. He goes, do you think I went for the cheapest space? No. He goes, I actually went for, I had to go with an expensive place, but it also brings that clientele because of the location. He goes, you'll make up for it. And it really got me thinking. So we have an area that's across the street from where we're at right now. It's probably the hottest outdoor mall, similar to the one in Plano that we used to always, go to for the boot camps. It's exactly like that. And we got a huge storefront in there. So the exposure's there. They have areas for us to do outside concerts. The atmosphere is unbelievable. Now it's Ohio, so you got seasonality for 4 or 5 months out of the year. So what? It's still, the activity is unbelievable in this area.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So that's where you guys are. That's where the space is at.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yep.
Cannot wait. What's timelines to be complete?
So by the end of the year.
Okay.
So yeah, we're actually going through. We signed all the papers. We're going through the building permit process right now, and we have until the end of the year. So our lease is up in December.
Cool. No, it's exciting. I can't wait to get out and see it. And I know those type of spaces have a tremendous impact. And we've got seen so many of those different concepts, and they really are powerful. The flexibility to where it's a place where people want to go, and they want to be, and so it's really cool. We've got one pretty close to us here by the house that is super cool. That's where Cliff had his office out of there for some time. He may be back in there. They may be back in. They may still be there. I think C3 told me that they still had space in there. So it's pretty amazing, and and it's really cool.
It's the whole here, and it's not only the concept, it's the follow through on the concept. And years ago, Brian Moses was talking about his experience of when either an agent that was just dropping keys off, or an agent that was coming for a interview, or a client came in, and they're like, his secretary would greet him at the door and say, hey, welcome. Here's our beverage menu. What would you like, off of the list? And they would have a stocked everything in there. And so it starts with that. So that's great that the concept is there, but it's the follow through that has to be done. So everybody wants state of the art office.
Yeah. It's the experience, right? When they come in, it's something that they want to be a part of. And it goes back to, environment is stronger than willpower. Environment drives your thinking. Environment drives your thoughts. And so your thoughts then become your beliefs on how you feel. How you feel is how you behave, and how you behave is the results you get. So it's a sequence. It's a code. I mean, it really is. And once you understand that, then you know how to, understand behavior, and you can have an impact, and you can help change it. You can change it. I mean, for good or for bad, but you understand that combination and how you can move forward with it.
Yep. I know all too well about environment, dude.
What's that?
I know all too well about environment. Even though I'm at home today, my son faked sick. I swear, he's admitted to it. But no, it's like back in the day, man. I couldn't work. I was first in, last out of the office because I could not work from home. Between the dog and the golf channel and the pantry and a pool table and a ping pong table. No, I'm out. Like no, don't work.
So, no, you just know it where you're the most productive. What type of environment? And the cool thing is that it's a creative world. So you get to design it, or you get to choose to be a part of whatever environment you want to be a part of.
For sure.
And so it really is key. So what's up, man? You rocking the Indians gear? How are they doing?
Dude, honestly, you're gonna think I'm crazy. I think they're doing good. I mean, I think amazingly, once we stripped our team, they're actually doing pretty good. But I'm rocking it because we're actually taking the staff to the Indians Loge game, to a Loge at the Indians game. So tonight.
Nice.
Yeah,
very
man.
Cool.
We're gonna throw down a little. It's just been so long. We were huge in the quarterly events for all of our agents and our staff, and man, it's so healthy. It's such an investment into it's called, and I don't know how many team leaders we have on here, but it's called re-recruiting every agent back to your team, and
sure.
That culture. That's what keeps everybody here. I mean, and so yeah, I'm so looking forward to it.
I mean, I think it's events. I think it's adding value. I think it's making them feel a part of something. It goes back to culture, right? Culture is everything. And, culture is really just a collection of your people. And so what are you doing and knowing the type of people you want to be around and surrounding those type of people, understanding your values, living to those values. And if, one of your value is having fun, right? Work hard, play hard, whatever it is, you got to make sure that you're living to that value. And, going to the Indians game is fun. Go, right? You got to do those things.
Yep.
So,
yeah, it's totally looking forward to finally getting out and doing that stuff again.
Yeah. You guys have been kind of locked down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it's just, it's that in our positions, it's always that fine line. It's that touch and go. Okay, well, do we set up a happy hour? Is it frowned upon? And us, we don't care at that point between Al and myself. We're the last guys to kind of say, is this frowned upon? But Andrea is the voice of reason in our office, and she kind of heads up all that stuff. So she keeps us a little bit honed in. So,
oh man, got to have somebody there to kind of keep everybody dialed in.
She's it. Trust me,
man. What else is good? What else are you guys kind of focused on, kind of seeing in the market, kind of everybody kind of rallying around and paying attention to?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, truthfully, it goes back to focusing on these listings. When we talked about the cash now offers, talk about the upsizing, what is that doing? It's generating listing leads. And our listings have significantly gone up. Yep. But truthfully, what most agents do, even agents on my team before we were doing this stuff, they were not happy with the amount of listings that they were getting, but they weren't willing to put forth that effort. Maybe because, remember, the market's changed so much that you actually have to work your ass off to get a listing.
Yeah.
And so, but you could do it because all the agents, when they're getting rewarded for bad behavior, they're not doing the basics. So you will come in and still take their business to this day. You might have to work a little bit harder at it, but we all know why we want listings. So you make more money.
Something a good point there. I think it's you have to develop a skill to really kind of work with listings, right? There's a skill set that has to be developed, capabilities that have to be developed. And, buyers, you can just make friends, right? If you just make a friend, you can be a good buyer's agent. And it's just being a good person, being a good friend.
Yep.
But it takes skill set and to be able to really work with sellers and understand what their objectives are, what their goal is. You have a clear process. You get your sellers believe that that's the best process to accomplish their goals. And now, should you do the same thing on the buy side? Yes. But can you get rewarded working with buyer's agents by being a friend? Yes. I think what's happened is that the market has shifted so severely that being a friend it just ain't going to cut it anymore. You've got to develop skill sets on both sides. You've got to take control of the process. You have to be that true expert advisor,
right,
to get the outcome that you deserve when you put the work in to help your clients achieve what it is they're wanting to achieve. And I think that's the big shift. And so you have these buyer's agents that haven't been willing to invest in their skill set. Now, all of a sudden, like, shit, the old way of doing things just is not working. So I like, hey, it's a mental shift. You're going to put in the work to develop that skill set, do it on the listing side.
Right.
Your return on time is so much greater than working with the buyer. Even from a math equation of return on time in a balanced market, we knew that time with the buyer was close to 24 hours of total time from initial conversation to follow-up to appointment to showings to meeting with the lender to getting the contract accepted to walking them through closing was 20 to 22 hours. We put a stopwatch on it several times. That's in a balanced market.
Yeah.
Sellers in the same time, stopwatch was about 2 hours to 3 hours. So you tell me where the return on time is. Develop the skill set. And I think that's where some of the agents that are excelling right now, that are going to excel into 22, into 23, because they've put the work in 20 to develop the skill set, and 21 to develop the skill set and mindset that, holy shit, my return on time is better spent with sellers. My whole model, my whole business just flipped.
Yep.
And it's a game changer. I've seen so many agents that finally were forced for survival to develop that skill set. And they're like, God dang, I didn't know why. Why didn't I do this sooner? Yeah. Because you had to develop this new skill set. Well, I don't have the confidence. Well, confidence doesn't come. You've got to commit. Then you've got to have the courage to trust the process and develop those capabilities, that skill set. And then when the victories come is when the confidence is there. Yeah. Confidence just doesn't happen. You have to get small wins. You have to get victories to build that confidence, but it all starts with commitment. It all then becomes the courage, develop that skill set, and then you're going to get those wins, and then that confidence is going to grow. And if you guys are serious about this career, and you're still wanting to sell and work with buyers and sellers, you better develop the skill set on the listing side.
Yeah, we actually are about 75% of what we did in 2015, I think it was. So 2015, right when the market kind of started pulling out of the whirlwind, I guess if you want to call it, we put all, and I mean all, every penny into the listing side marketing, every penny of our marketing budget. And we just said, hey, let's punt, let's try it. And it worked. Not only did, we were it was a 60-40 company. So 60% of our sales were buyers, 40% were listings at the time. Not only did our buyers grow by 20%, but our listings did by 40%. And we were almost, by one transaction, a 50-50 company. and we loved it, right? And we still want to increase it more. So what we ended up doing was this year, we went back to about a 75-25, and I'm not saying closing wise. I'm saying our marketing budget is 75% of listings, which is why the next announcement is, or the next thing I want to talk about is, and you might give me pushback on this, and I'm open to it, by the way, but we're going back to an ISA model. We're having an ISA in-house, set up some appointments for our top agents. So,
no, I'm definitely pro ISA. I think there's right ways and wrong ways to kind of go about it. I think really with where the ISA is key in what we're doing these days is sales development more so. If you want to break down the function, I think where they could add a ton of value is nurturing and following up, because what do agents suck at? Nurturing and following up. And so I think that's where that key function, right? Because that's all we're looking for. It's all functions. So what function, where is the constraint in the process? Where are we bottlenecked, and what function can that serve? So that, to me, we always have a bottleneck in the follow-up and the nurture and things that take time, because agents are commission driven. So they're looking for the next kill instead of being the farmer and nurturing. And that's where the ISA function is really powerful, is to be able to come in and nurture through that process. So then you can tee it up for your hunters that can go out and hunt and make that, make that connection, get that deal put together. And so to me, it is a critical component if that is your big bottleneck. And for almost everybody, that is their bottleneck is the nurture and the sales development.
Well, it goes back to the word that we talked about earlier. It's long term.
Hustle, work. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, you got to put forth that hard work now, but it's the long term. And I tell, all of my team members this, and people that I talk to, that I coach and stuff, is you got two goals. You're either setting that nurture or setting the appointment. But everybody does that. Okay, that's great, stating the obvious, but they forget about the nurture, and then they don't get the appointment, and that's all they're focused on. If you actually focus on the nurture, it's amazing what you're building. What your business is going to do, and how you focus on that is write down that dollar amount that each nurture is, the exact dollar amount, what it would be in your pocket. And that is the most come to Jesus number that you will ever see in your business, as far as I'm concerned.
I would say, Joel, that if you've ever finally called in through your database of leads and opportunities, and you get the phone call of, "Hey, Joel, I appreciate the call. We just sold our home." Then that's when you need to get some help. It's a who problem. And I think that's the biggest growth shift. If anybody can embrace that concept and embrace that it's who, not how, then you will have the leaps and the growth trajectory that you want. I think it's the same thing on the agent attraction side. I think you've got to have a sales development person that's nurturing and following up with agents as well. And it's just, we all know. And it's the same thing with buyers and sellers. It takes multiple touches, multiple impressions for somebody to make a move.
Yeah.
We know it's double digit on impressions and touches for an agent to make a move. And so we get frustrated when it's like, "Joel, man, I've talked to this guy 4 times and he just doesn't get it." Like, no shit, because you need to talk to him about 10 more times and he might get it.
Yeah.
So it really is kind of where you need to look. And Linda's asking, so Joel, where are you guys looking for that sales development for that ISA piece?
So honestly, Indeed, that's the way we threw it out there. And you might have some more information on this. We have not tried this, but I know people like Veronica in Orlando are using WiseHire, and she absolutely loves it. For us in Cleveland, Indeed really does work. It's just, it's a process, because even though you set requirements and restrictions on it, it is, you have to have a real estate license. If you say that, you're going to get 40 resumes in and 35 of them will not have real estate license, even though that was a requirement. That's just how it is. But, you got to have things in place for that. Right? We're all running a business, whether it's identify what's working, what's not working, if we're not getting those results. And I don't think this is anything short of that. So, we found out that, okay, there will be more people without a license. And that's part of our, it's part of our employment, is that if you're with us and it's a fit for 90 days, we will pay for you to get your license. And then what we had, you actually helped me open my mind up to this. completely was I didn't want a turnover. And you're like, no, if they want to spread their wings and grow into that individual agent, you need to let them go. You need to help them get to that point and let them decide what's the best move for them and their family. And that changed things because all of our employees now have their license. They have the option of selling. They kill it not only at selling, but at getting their stuff done because, the unwritten core value rule is get your shit done. And they do. We don't have to worry about that.
Joel, I think that the underlying thing here that everybody needs to take away from what you just shared is that anytime as a business owner, a leader, that you put a perceived limit, a perceived lid on anybody's opportunity is the moment that they will start looking for other opportunities somewhere else. And so you can never put a constraint on somebody's believed, it's not true, on their perceived lid of opportunity. That's the second you do that is the second they're gone. Mentally, they might still be there showing up physically every day for you, but mentally they've already checked out and they're looking for other opportunities. So Linda, to answer your question, Wise Hire is hit and miss in certain markets. Indeed is hit and miss in certain markets. Craigslist is hit and miss in certain markets. So being able to get it out there, get it out into, the job, all the job postings, all the places you can find. I will say it's been a bit of a struggle over the last 18 months because usually kind of coming into that role, those people have been taking advantage of not to say this in a negative way, but there's been people that have been taking advantage of money to stay at home and they just don't want to work. So it has been a little bit of a challenge to find good people. But that's starting to change. And so, you keep looking, you've got, a great, I would say, make sure your branding is on point, your reputation, because that's all your branding is your reputation. When they go online and search you, what do they find? That's important because good people will do their homework. And if you don't look like a good fit, they're going to find a place that is a good fit for them. And you guys have to get this. If you want to grow, you have to be focused on your brand and you've got to be focused on building a culture that people want to be a part of. Here's where people stay. They stay with a good wage and a great culture. That's where you get good people and that's where good people stay. Those two things, right? They get a good wage, maybe 5% above market average, but it's a great culture. And a great culture is just a collection of people that are aligned to the values and aligned to the vision of the organization and what you're wanting to build and the impact you're wanting to have within the community. You nail those two things, sky's the limit. And so, culture, people, and then, there's certain numbers that we've got to pay attention to, but really you got to nail your culture. You've got to nail your people and, provide them the space and the opportunity to grow, to accomplish whatever they want to accomplish.
Yeah, man, culture does everything because I firmly believe anybody can, an agent can go anywhere and get a bigger split anywhere. Sure. True. Like there's 100% out there. I'm sure there's even somebody out there that's giving 110%. They're actually paying you to close a deal somewhere. But somewhere. What I'm saying is that, it's the culture that keeps them there. It's the value that you're adding to their business that keeps them there. So, it's same thing with an employee too. I love what you said, pay them a percentage above market value. And a great book is Uncontainable. They talk about, paying A players, above market-based wage because you'll actually get almost 2 employees worth of work out of them. Right. So you're saving money by not hiring them. But also, Linda, there's you can look at a virtual ISA company too. I'm not the guy to talk to about that. Not a big. I won't go there, but I just.
There's things that you can outsource until you can bring it in house. Mm-hmm. There's some companies out there. I would do some due diligence based upon, what it is you're trying to accomplish to see. I will say this: the virtuals are until you can bring it in house. And then, I've got folks that are having success with VAs overseas that are being able to step into that role. And, you know, Linda, my team is VAs. I've got we've got 5 VAs, one that I've got on the NAEA team right now. And then I've got 4. And yeah, lead gen is the last thing you should outsource. Really in this business it is. And I think you could have somebody that can, like what Jen's saying, is I think you could have somebody helping with the nurturing, but you still need to be the one that's making the close. Unless you're in a position that you have a closer, but it needs to be until you're at a point to where you need that extension, you know, definitely administrative support, then that ISA function. But I think the key there, even with Jen, is that you need to be riding beside them, you know, making the calls with them. That's where you get to double the impact. Joel, you can attest to this, right? If you're in there in the trenches with them, man, you're just going to build, you know, you're going to be able to go faster.
Man, I pseudo ran an ISA department for us for, I don't know, a few years. I did a horrible job. Okay, because I wasn't the guy saying, hey, let's not only go through the training, I'm going to jump on some calls, you're going to hear me, giving them positive feedback. I was the guy that would like come out by with the, you know, and I would be listening to the conversation. I'm like, oh, you should have said this, this, and this. And I'd walk away and they hate me, right? We hate each other at that point. It's a bad relationship. So what changed everything is when I said, hey, I'm gonna make the first hour, you make the second hour call block, and then we jive back and forth. It was, I will tell you what, it was a total different ball game. And we should not be scared, no matter where we're at in our business, to jump on that phones with somebody we're training. Whether it's an agent on your team, because you're training them to do those good things, or an ISA, somebody you're onboarding, anything, show them the ropes.
Yeah, get in the trenches with them, man. It builds such a mutual respect, and it just becomes part of the culture too, right? That, hey, we're a collaborative culture. We're not afraid to jump in and help each other out whenever we need. And it's ultimately leadership 101, right? Modeling the behavior that you want to instill into the organization. And, you know, how, you know, are you modeling that behavior that you want everybody to embody, and you want everybody to jump in and help, because that's just what we do. That's culture, right? That's your culture. And so, Faux Shizzle, brother, I appreciate you jumping in. Damn, we flew through, man. Another great hour, great conversation, and always love catching up, hear how things are going on in the 216. Man,
I love you when you have me on here, man. I absolutely love it. I love the community that you've created here, and I mean, look at all these questions out here. This is it's refreshing, put it that way.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It really is. Well, I know I get to see you in a month or so. We'll be in the ATL doing bringing the NAEA condensed version of boot camp to Atlanta. So really looking forward to that. Mr. Hillsman told me on Friday that they're already halfway sold out and they haven't done any promoting yet. I was like,
I laugh every single time I talk to those guys. You're exactly right. I mean, it was like, and it was a tough pill there. I mean, they I can't remember, what is the room hold, 150?
Yeah.
Yeah. They have done no promoting and
zero promoting, and it's already halfway sold out.
Yep. Hot land. Fun.
I'm excited. Well, brother, have fun with the team tonight. Go Indians, and look forward to catching you guys on the next episode.
All right, man. Thanks so much. See you guys.
See ya.